What's going on, guys? Matt Manduk here. Today I have an after unboxing for you, and let me go ahead and turn the camera around as I explain what it is. Alright, what I'm reviewing today is the Optimus stovetop, and this is a backpacking stovetop, but it's also my cooking array for inside the truck because, well, you can see I'm inside of my truck. I've been cleaning today, but I figured I should do a review of this. And I need to also mention that it did come with a pan. It came with like a cup and another, like a cup and then another cup that it fit inside of, which was cool. But I think I actually tossed that because I got an upgrade. And I got this upgrade at the Air Force Museum, which I have actually posted a video of. I got it, like, this thing was 15 bucks, but it's lighter than the original cups that it came with, and it's bigger, and it's stainless steel, so it doesn't have any of the problems with, like, I have cooked on it several times and you can't really tell, but it's lighter, and that's the big thing, is it's lighter and it's big enough to actually cook enough water, whereas the thing that the Optimus came with was not big enough to cook enough water to do one of, like, the I have some right here. They're the Walmart brand, but it wasn't big enough to do that because you need a liter of water in order to make this, and the thing couldn't make a liter, whereas this actually can, or close to it. Now, in the truck, I don't make these. I save these for backpacking because they're lightweight. In the truck, I do other cooking, and the stove, which I'm gonna get out in a second, and I forgot to grab the fuel that I actually use, and that's not the fuel that I would take backpacking because I have a smaller one that weighs less for backpacking, but I've been using the bigger one for cooking in the truck. And so I would use this on backpacking, but I use this one in the truck, and I've used it probably 15 times and it's still got at least a half. So it's a long-term thing. And if you're just doing it like on weekend backpacking trips like I would be, then you're not going to use it up, and you'll hardly ever have to buy the things. And I have heard that the butane propane mix is more wasteful than regular propane, but I'm not finding that to be true. It does burn hotter though, so you can boil water much faster, and that is kind of ideal. Alright, so this is the actual piece, and I want to say it's fairly light, like maybe a half a pound. I don't know, I don't have a scale in here, and I do know my base weight, well, my last base weight was 9 pounds, and it has gone down since then because I got a lighter tent set up, and I got, lighter other stuff. And I'm going to review all that stuff for you when I've used it a few times, because my after unboxing is, I have had to have used it for at least 6 months. Now, in the case of like a camping tent that I only use once every 6 months, I'll have to use it like 2 more times, and I've only used it once so far. But so the stove itself actually it folds up to be like this, and it opens up so you can grab a larger pot. And this one-handed stuff, one of them is kind of loose and the other two are kind of tight, but it is what it is. It does the job, because once it's open, it doesn't matter that this one's a little loose because it's not going anywhere. And it does grab the pot fairly well. It would just go on top of here, and these things reseal themselves. So then you pull out and because it's not mounted, it's more difficult, but you pull out the thing, and that's how you adjust how hot it gets. And I mean, they're pretty basic, and they're all pretty basic, all the backpacking one. I went with this one because it was made to fit inside the cups that it came with, and then I did discover that the cups that it came with were not big enough for what I was doing. And it is what it is. I want to say I spent $45 on this at a Cabela's. Not a big deal, but like I said, I'm also showing my cooking setup, and you can see I have a frying pan, and you can also see that I've never used a frying pan, and that's mostly because of, my freezer took a dump, so like my refrigerator is filled with stuff that I can eat initially, and I do make like noodles quite often, and that's where I got this Stanley pot. And this was a whole cooking setup that I picked up at Walmart for 40 bucks. But the only thing I use in it is the pan. I like the pan that it has holes in the lid so I can actually use it as a strainer too, which is kind of nice. And it's mostly clean in there. I mean, you know, I do an okay job for not having running water. But I also use this, and I'll a lot of times I'll pour the water into this so that I don't have to try to get around in here in order to pour water out the window in the middle of cooking, because I have my table out and that becomes a pain in the butt. But this is big enough for small meals. But then if I'm trying to do, you know, a thing of like the tortellinis that I've been doing lately, or if I'm trying to do a whole pound of noodles, I do need the bigger pot. So I use the bigger pot, and then I'll end up eating out of the bigger pot too. And in smaller situations, like if I'm doing ramen noodles or something, I use this because it's perfect for doing ramen. It's big enough to do, like I said, the backpacking meals that are freeze dried and they have to be rehydrated. So I want to say that it'll boil water in about 1.5 minutes if it's just on high blast, but I don't usually put it on full blast because I'm cooking things, and you know, if you're trying to boil noodles for 10 minutes, you don't have to have it boil immediately. But if you're just trying to do the backpacking thing, you do want it to boil immediately, because you want to pour that boiling water into the package or whatever it is so that it can start hydrating, because it takes about 10 minutes to hydrate. And you know, because it is what it is. But in a case of this, like I said, the one arm, which I guess is, yeah, this one got a little loose. But other than that, I've been using the thing for, well, I've had this truck since January, and it's currently March. And I did use it at Exit 111, and I used it in Zion. And like I've been using it for almost a year now, and I've been using it pretty commonly in the truck, since I got a truck that doesn't have an inverter, so I can't use my electric skillet. I would recommend this to anybody, but like I said, all the backpacking stoves are well, they're pretty basic, and for what a stove really is, all it is a valve and a dispersal. It's not like it's doing anything great. So you know, I'm not saying it's a bad option. I'm not saying it's the best option, but it was the best option for me at the time, because it did come with cooking supplies, and that might be something that you want to go for. But you know, in the long run, it fits in its own bag, and I end up putting it in something else anyway, and turns out almost any stove is going to fit in this big ass cup that I got. To show you what it looked like packed up, now this has the Air Force Museum cup in it, the stove inside of the cup, and the smaller butane tank in it. And I got this ditty bag out of well, a jump starter pack that I have to use a couple more times before I review it, but I will review it because they were not cheap, and well, it'd be interesting to see who else is interested in them. But that's not today's episode. But as you can see, it doesn't take up too much space for the entire pack and setup, and that's all I need for backpacking. No, I don't pack it up entirely in the truck because I don't need to. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to see the other things that if you want to see the other things that I've reviewed, and the other things that I do on my channel, you can go ahead and click that subscribe button. And thanks for watching. I wouldn't do this without you. I'll see you, my friends, in my next video.